Good afternoon mga ka-HR. Isa na namang magandang hapon ng Full of Learnings today. Alam kong medyo na-miss niyo po kami. Na-miss niyo po ako last week. Pagpasensyahan na po ninyo at medyo nagpahinga muna ang ating founder. Ngayong hapon pong ito, may mga matututunan naman tayo sa ating napakagaling at isa sa bagong mentor ng HR Calabarzon. Ngayong hapon po, ma'am, na siguraduhin, ma'am, sir, sisiguraduhin ko po sa inyo na talagang marami tayong matututunan with our speaker. Now, linawin ko lang po ulit ang HRE Knowledge 2021 Ground Rules. Siyempre po, ang ating Zoom po ay open na po. Actually, 1 o'clock pa lang po open na tayo. Medyo may mga waiting po tayo, pero pasensyahan nyo na po at nagme-meeting lang po ang committee. Inihiling po namin sa lahat kung kaya po, kung malakas po ang ating internet, video on, audio mute. Lahat po ng katanungan, paki-place lang po sa chat box, sa comment section sa ating FB Live. Nire-request po namin ang lahat ng inyong attention at cooperation para po fully ma-maximize natin ang learning. Tandaan po natin, ang learning po na ito ay free. Lahat po ay pwedeng umattend, lalo na po ngayon na ang HR Calabarzon can accommodate 500 participants. Kung nais po natin ng e-certificate, i-request lang po sana namin na tayo po ay magpadala via Union Bank Savings Account 1096-5432-4540 o GCash number 0919-0096339 ng 50 pesos. Good for 4 consecutive webinar in 1 month. Ano nga ba ang HR Calabarzon? Ang HR Calabarzon ay nabuo o isang grupo na nag-provide po ng virtual at hoping face-to-face learning sa mga HR practitioner at sa mga nagnanais na maging HR at ka-HR ng mga taga-HR Calabarzon. Take note po, ang HR Calabarzon po ay hindi exclusive para sa ating mga ka-HR sa Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon. Sa ngayon po ay marami na po tayong mga kasama, mga ka-HR na nagmula sa Baguio, Ilocos, Camarines Sur, Bicol, marami pa pong lugar. Meron din po sa NCR at meron din po tayo sa ibang bansa. Sino-sino po ba ang mga tao behind HR Calabarzon? Siyempre po ang inyong lingkod, Nedy po ang founder. We also have our coach Darwin Rivers, isa sa ating board of directors. Ang ating ever napaka-talented at napakagaling sa pagdating sa mga ITs at saka sa mga design, Ma'am Jorina Caparan. We also have Sir Arvin Delmo. We have Ma'am Ana Jolene Pamatmat. We also have Ma'am Rosalie Joya. And we have Ma'am Janet Memoracion. Now po, dahil nga po hapon ng learning ngayon, tawagin po natin ang ating main host, ang na-miss ng HR Calabarzon, ang ever-talented, Ma'am Jorina Caparal. Hi, Ma'am Jorin.
Hi! Hello po mga ka-HR Calabarzon. Maraming salamat po ulit at sa pag-a-attend nyo. Marami akong nakikita dito, mga familiar names as well. And I'm very happy na patuloy pa rin po ang inyong pagko-consume ng knowledge and pag-continuously improve ng inyong mga sarili. Okay, so ngayon, ulitin po natin ang ating mga ground rules. Katulad po ng sinabi ni Miss Nedy, ang HR Calabarzon nga po ay nagbibigay po at nagfa-facilitate po ng mga virtual learnings at saka po soon din sana if after the pandemic, face-to-face learning upang mas makatulong pa po tayo sa mga HR practitioners at sa ating community. Ngayon po, bakit nga po ba natin kailangan magbayad ng 50 pesos? Ito pong 50 pesos po na ito, kahit po kami po ay isang non-profit organization, kinakailangan po namin ng 50 pesos na ito upang masustain po ang aming Zoom account, upang mas marami pa po kaming ma-reach, at saka po, pwede pa po kami mag-sponsor ng mga iba pa pong mga learning sessions para po sa ating HR community. So, pag nagbayad na po kayo ng 50 pesos, makakakuha po kayo ng 4 na e-certificate at 4 na learning session po yun. So, sulit na sulit po talaga para po sa value na nakukuha nyo at saka sa knowledge na makukuha nyo every week. Usually po every Saturday po kami naglalabas ng aming mga e-learning sessions at marami pa pong parating. So, ayun po. Looking forward po na makasama pa po kayo sa pagpatuloy po nating mga sessions.
Ma'am Zurina, today we will be having another speaker, another mentor na magtuturo sa atin. Can you please introduce our speaker para hindi na mainip ang ating mga viewers?
Ayan, of course, syempre ang ating magiging topic for today is restructuring and diversification for business continuity. Ito is mainly focused on risk management at para dun po sa mga businesses na nawalan po ng generated income, probably dahil sa pandemic. Isa po yun sa magiging focuses nun. And ngayon po ang ating speaker is a very great speaker. She is very experience in this industry, in the HR industry, as well as in risk management. Siya po ang tinatawag po nating mentor ng isa po sa ating mga co-members, which is si Miss Ja Memoracion. Now, Miss Nisa has more than 17 solid years of experience in the human resources field, management, organizational development, and administration gained from business process outsourcing, which is medical transcription, manufacturing, electrical and trading companies, and also placement and staffing firms, retail and distribution, manufacturing, and clinic research companies, and now with also a legitimate contracting company. She oversees and provides overall strategic directions, operational leadership, and human resource expertise to the business units, departments, ensuring that these are all aligned and in support to the company's business plans and objectives with the goal of achieving targeted results. So ngayon, si Miss Nisa po has more than 10 years solid experience as well in operations. So not only in human resources, but we also get to have a really great speaker who has 10 years of solid experience in operations as well. Yeah, so she was also simultaneously doing human resource management, organizational development, and administration for the recent two companies. So she also has a lot of experience in the field of sales and marketing, gained from a multinational company, and wow, and less than 3 solid years of experience in the field of customer service. So marami po talaga siyang experience in a lot of different industries and companies and a lot of different fields in business. She is also adept in both newly set up and established companies. So startup companies and yung tenured na po talaga na companies. Currently, she is the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Chantilly Nutriment Corp and the General Manager of Grow White Staffing Services. I introduce you Miss Nisa Trinidad.
Hi, am I being heard?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for introducing me, Ma'am Jorina. It was a very kind introduction. Okay. So, yeah, good afternoon to all the HR practitioners and business leaders in this afternoon session. Thank you, HR Calabarzon, for having me this afternoon. Should I proceed now, Ma'am Neddy?
Yes po.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll start. Could I already share my presentation
Yes,
here?
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. There you go. So, is that being seen na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Again, thank you, HR Calabarzon, no, for um, having me this afternoon. I am honored and privileged to be part of your learning activity. And I would like to commend, again, I was saying earlier kanina, no, I commend your passion, your commitment, and of course, the appetite of the ones attending this session on a Saturday, no, and learn from, people like us in the HR and or even with the business leaders, no, because these people could have just spend their time no doing other things no or rest today, but yeah, thank you for your time. So I hope that I will be an instrument in the learning session today and be able to give justice to the topic. All right, sige. All right, so please allow me to give a little background lang of our company and how I could correlate it to the assigned topic, which is restructuring and diversification for business continuity. Huwag masyado kayong ma-overwhelm no, doon sa title. But yeah, I'll be sharing with you. Actually, this is a totoo namang nangyari sa amin. All right? Okay. Okay. So, our company, it's Grovit Staffing Services, was actually established in January 2014. Medyo bata pa kami, no? And since then, we hold our office in STI Holding Center in Ayala Avenue, Makati. I think some of our HR people here or attendees here also holds office in Makati. Yeah, so we are accredited by the Department of Labor and Employment. So initially, of course, we were under the Department Order 18-A, right? And when it got expired, we have been qualified for the Department Order 174, which we are now using and is valid until November 25 of 2021. So renewal of that is actually every 2 years na. All right. These are our partner industries across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, especially pre-pandemic. So as you can see, we have a wide range of client or principal and even our deployed employees under either probationary or regular employment, no, who perform our contracted services. So we have this kind of pool of people. And let me share lang with you that we have been awarded 3 times already by the Department of Labor as a certified compliant in the general labor standards and occupational safety and health. Okay. The first one was valid for 2 years. This is under Secretary Baldos. Before Department of Labor and Employment issue certification talaga. But then with the new administration, it's only the notice of results. So we were able to acquire these certificates on a voluntary and involuntary visit or audit of the Department of Labor. We learn from the best. All right. So we are a active member of our organization, the Philippine Association of Local Service Contractors. So this is where, the legitimate contractors are actually members of. And then the ECOP, or the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, and of course the People Management Association of the Philippines, or PMAP. We learn from them, and of course we get from them, no, are the latest rulings of our government. All right. Um, Pre-pandemic, our business was actually focused in the job or service contracting with the partner industries that I have, mentioned or shown earlier. And we would, get commendation from them and even from our deployed employees, and because they're quite happy with how we take care of them. We would sometimes even get inquiries from our client or from the principals if we could accommodate transfers, no, of employees to our company, but we never did that. We never accommodated any transferee because we respect the market competition, and of course we were just, focused in doing our own business. While, okay, so this is our occupational safety and health organizational chart. As you can see, me being the chairman, and pre-pandemic, I have like 4 safety officers, and then all the rest are actually safety officers 1. Okay, and then we have people, our team leaders in the deployment or in the client that we also trained of occupational safety and health then. Right. So while we were doing well in the general labor standards, we improved our, occupational safety and health. Again, to fully comply, if you remember, we have this Department Order 198, which was effective in December 2018. And then these people, or the safety officers, we have you know, it required them to actually acquire further knowledge or further training in the field of occupational safety and health. Okay, even the people who we deploy in the different clients are also required, or we have made them actually capable of performing the duties and responsibilities of safety officer. Pre-pandemic, we would go to our clients to conduct training on the occupational safety and health because we would like everyone to be aligned with the health and standards that, of course, our Department of Labor and Employment is actually requiring us to. Our business over the years had reached to at least, um, sorry, I'm ahead of my slide, reached to more than 600% growth. However, in just a snap of a finger, no, it nosedive to 75%, leaving us with less than what 24% of the remaining business, especially in April 2020. I assume that everybody could relate to what happened to us in March, April, May, those times in 2020 that was really hard. And then it was at that time that we received, guys, if you can remember, there were a lot of labor advisories that we got from our DOLE, no, which needed additional compliance, dissemination, alignment, and implementation to both our employees and um, client principals. There you go. At least there were less than 20 yata that we um, received no from the Department of Labor. So all of us were caught unprepared to face the impact of COVID-19, right? And as this health emergency had developed into a huge and continuing economic and humanitarian crisis, our government and of course us, private institutions, are continuously looking for ways to save lives and livelihood to survive. And we have adopted strategies to continue our operations at varying scales. During the lockdown, sabi nga, our country had the most, the longest lockdown of COVID at the time. And after which, diba, we experienced different quarantine classifications. And I suppose many are still adapting different strategies to survive with the hope that our respective businesses will recover and bounce back. And so during the lockdown, it was in March, no, that we have actually improved our business continuity plan. So now it's the version is business continuity and preparedness management, no. So in January to March, the phases 1 to 2, which is react and respond, and before we um, came back to the office, we have improved the number 3 part, which is recover, and we focus more on that, not just because of the decline in the business, but also to be able to survive and save the overall company's jeopardy or suffer further financial harm, and to be able to stay relevant in the industry. So during the recover phase, which was last year, we worked on from March to December 2020, improvement in the occupational safety and health because of the, of this COVID-19. And then we actually redid. Okay, we had a redo of our how do you call that, strategic planning that we finished in October of 2019. So inulit namin siya. We had a business review when we came back to the office, and then we replanned again. Okay, we set different kinds of KPIs again, etc. And while we're doing that, we made sure that people will feel safe, coming to the office, because of course health is our priority. A lot of programs have been instituted starting, of course, in May, no, and until now they're still being implemented, still being reviewed and revised for improvement as we deem appropriate. Okay, so part of the recovery plan was to the organizational restructuring. I put others not the bottom of it because we had a lot of activities, no, when we're doing the recover phase. So in the business review that we did, we had to, yeah, as I mentioned, we made again different, we adjusted our KPIs and of course our budget, because business has been made different already. So some of the operational strategies that we have been doing for years were no longer applicable because of what happened to us. And then, of course, we revised our calendar of activities. That's for internal employees and the ones that are deployed to our clients. We even revised our training plans. All right. Again, this were all finalized in 2019, but in 2020, all these were, just not necessarily scrapped, but we had to redo them. And then, so it was like doing strategic planning again. Okay. Now, part of the organizational structuring that we had was to actually streamline the organization structure. Okay. So there were integration of departments, which used to be, this is under human resources, no, servicing our deployed employees. It used to be three functional areas, but we integrated two groups, so making it dalawa na lang, no, to service our people in the deployed to the client. And then there was also an integration of the accounting and finance related function. So we integrated our payroll, billing and collection, and the general accounting into one group na lang siya to be, so that they'll be more efficient doing their job. And then another thing under the organizational structuring is that we organized and implemented upskilling. So we taught people to do payroll, and then training. Okay, some people were trained to do training. Okay, apart from the ones who are doing the actual training. Okay, and then we implemented retraining programs naman for payroll and occupational safety and health. Later, I explain why we had to do it. But under the talent management, when we came back to the office, we really did. One of our priorities was actually to conduct upskilling. Okay, and then business diversification. Okay, so bakit pumasok si business diversification? Again, so that we'll be able to continue our business. So now, because of the business diversification, as I've mentioned earlier, pre-pandemic, our focus or the business was only focused in doing the legitimate contracting, no? So, because we're certified by our Department of Labor. Now, because of the restructuring and the business diversification that we had to do to stay relevant in the industry, is we're now offering payroll outsourcing. Okay, so why did we offer, or why are we now offering payroll outsourcing? Well, we're practically been doing payroll since the company was established for thousands of people to our clients. And so we decided to, establish or put an additional business line, since this is one of our expertise. So that's a business, part of the business diversification. And of course, occupational safety and health. Okay, so now we are offering services for OSH, or occupational safety and health. I think I have, like, right now, more than half of our population or internal organic employees are actually safety officers. So when you come to the office, you will feel safe. All right. So kanina, I have a different organization chart, no, for our OSH. So this is now the improved one. So we have now safety officer 3, and then there are more people now under the safety officers 2, and then mga safety officers 1 na tong mga iba pa. Okay. Going back to the slides kanina that I put others, no, under the our recovery phase. Of course, when we came back to the office, we had to redo a lot of things. A lot of documentations have to be printed. There are reports that we have to submit to the Department of Labor. Of course, may mga compliance audit kami that we have to prepare and submit again. And part of that was also relaxing some, or putting some flexibility in some of our HR policies. Okay, especially in the attendance, punctuality, etc. Okay, the recover phase, by the way, did not include downsizing of organic employees, but we had to implement some cost-cutting measures in a way we do the operations pre-pandemic. And of course, we had to implement then some skeleton workforce schedule, while we are continuously observing the safety protocols on COVID-19. We also had increased budget allocation on the safety and health due to the pandemic that we are still experiencing. So the recover phase helped us better organize ourselves in 2020 and now. Together as a team, we worked on a recover phase with all the details we determined. And well, of course, expectedly, there were some hiccups no, as we went along. Nevertheless, we continued and concluded all the planned activities. What we are continuously doing now is a continuous training and improvement in the occupational safety and health and payroll, because they are now part of the services that we offer to our clients. Let me just share with you that in 2020, the GV Cares was born. Okay, what do I mean by GV Cares? Well, this is a part of our marketing and sales strategy naman, no? So we use the Facebook platform to actually, advertise ourselves, our services, and be able to cater to the deployed employees naman to, add a little or some knowledge. I'll just share the video and hope you'll be able to hear and see it. Okay. All right. I have another presentation. Um, this is actually my team.
Harap ka, abutin ang nais mo. Lumaban ka, harapin ang hamon ng mundo. Gumising ka, bagong umagay naghihintay. Huwag kang bibitaw, huwag kang bibitaw. Pag-asa'y darating, huwag kang pahuhuli. Kaming kasama mo ngayon. Pangarap makakamit, huwag kang madadaig. Kaming kasama mo ngayon. Sa Grobe Staffing Services.
Okay. Hello. I don't think I can share my other slide, no, but actually I'm done. So thank you for listening. Ma'am Jolene?
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Sorry,
Unmute,
medyo nag-stop.
unmute yung sarili ko. Okay.
Sorry.
Lisa, thank you very much for that
Well,
presentation.
thank you for listening, everyone.
And I guess at this point, we're given a lot of time for Q&A, and that is something very welcomed by participants. Now, perhaps I could start off with just one question at this point. You
And I
mentioned
hope
that.
to answer it.
Well, thank you for indulging us with all these questions. I will at least the opportunity to ask you all these questions. No? So, um, we'll start off with this because you mentioned that you did not just have to revise the plans that you had finished. Na it was all done by 2019, and then
Oo.
2020 happened. So it
Oo.
it threw us, most of us, if not all, no?
Yes,
It
actually.
actually threw us off. So when you mentioned that instead of just simply revising, but you actually had to redo all the plans that you had finished in 2019, but then 2020 was already happening. It was surprising, and yet we are expected to continue, no? And to continue operations, to continue the business, although in a certain way, kasi may bago. So when you mentioned that you had to redo it, not just simply revise it, how long did it take you to redo the plans, to redo, may it be business plan, marketing plan, training plan, all the things that you have finished in 2019, such that, how long did you have to do that? The redoing, the replanning,
Mm-mm.
it's like
Mm-mm.
going back to the drawing board again. How
Correct.
long did you have to do that before implementation? Which is supposedly ready for 2020 pandemic times, because the plans that you finished was for, it's like a regular, it was a business as usual. There's nothing really, no pandemic whatsoever. So how long
Mm-mm.
did it take you such that
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
it's ready to be implemented?
Correct. When we were locked down, and that was in half of March, no. The good thing about what happened to us was that we have actually been keeping the business continuity plan and implementing it since 2018. And so we were somewhat, I'd say, hindi naman sobrang prepared, but it helped us a lot to actually continue doing business, no, in a very not very smooth, pero it really helped us a lot. And so we started redoing, no, we had to revisit all the KPIs of each of the department when we were locked down in March. Oo, medyo we had a medyo nakapag-practice pa nga kami in February because of the volcano in Tagaytay, right?
Yes.
Which happened in February. So parang at that time we were like cramming and we were like preparing, and so are all our files in the cloud? Do we have backups of all our files? Are we ready to work from home in case we cannot come back to work, etc.? And so the earlier kanina I showed you the four phases, no, of the improved business continuity plan. And so the phase 3, which is the recover, we started doing that in March. So
Yeah.
before so in March, of course, when we were locked down, we did not stop meeting each one another, etc. And so, when we were working from home, we started doing now, or revisiting our the strategies that we are supposed to implement in 2020, no. And so I would say 2 months.
Okay. So
two
it was
months
around 2 months. Yeah. So it, so by the time March, April, May, so by the time it was May, because you started at around March and it took you around 2 months, let's say.
Mm-mm.
But given that you had, and I think this is one of the things that a lot of businesses, especially perhaps the SMEs, no, kasi definitely
Correct.
the big corporations, they have a continuity plan. They have
Yes.
business continuity plans. There's even departments that handle those business continuity.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
There's
It's very
really a specific
important.
department that handles that. So if it took you, so after around 2 months you were able to implement it, but then is that a factor, like you were able to do that in 2 months simply because you had a business continuity plan ready as early as 2018?
It
So
helped us a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. And then during lockdown nga, because we were continuously meeting morning, afternoon, up to daytime na, no, nighttime na, we would meet. And okay, so what do we do now? How do we do it then? Paano na yung coordination, etc. Because these are no longer applicable with all the restrictions, limitations.
Yes.
We prepared during the lockdown, but of course, rolling it out to the people, underneath us, and making people understand why are we going to, revise it, and this is how we will move forward. That would be additional less than a month.
Okay, so
Of course, we have to
so you
align
had to,
everybody.
yeah, so you had to plan all over again, and that took you around 2 months to, you know,
Mm-mm.
it's like planning. You normally do planning the year before the year,
Correct.
months before
Yes.
the year. But you
Normally 3 to 4 months, no?
Yeah, exactly. But
And
then 2020 happened, and you had to plan in 2 months' time and be able to make your people ready for implementation within
correct,
another
ma'am.
month. And so it
Uh-uh.
took you around
Uh-uh.
3 months before that can really be effectively rolled out, or it
Yes,
could
ma'am.
be effectively
Uh-uh.
implemented.
Uh-uh.
So
Uh-uh.
Uh,
perhaps, yeah, since as I mentioned a while ago, a lot of our small businesses or SMEs are not really into business continuity plans. No,
I encourage everyone to please do one,
mm,
okay?
exactly. And so,
Sobrang
and so
importante niya, especially for
exactly.
the businesses that are doing service. Oo,
Yes.
alam natin yung lahat, no?
Totoo po yun, no? Kasi business continuity plans are not necessarily for big corporations because, and it's not only
It's for
to prepare for
everyone.
a pandemic because a crisis can happen, fires, if
That's
company
very
reputation, there's something happened, there's something that would happen to your reputation. So any problem or crisis can arise. And so a business continuity plan is definitely something that will serve the company best if you have one in place.
correct,
Now,
Ma'am
with
Jolene.
that said, then, yeah, yes, sige po. Go ahead,
Let
ma'am.
me just tell everyone lang, no? And I'll be very honest, no? Syempre, yung business continuity plan namin did not include pandemic. We did not know that it's gonna
mhm,
happen. So, we prepared for the different kinds of disaster,
mm,
sickness, fire, etc., no? Pero, syempre, pandemic, we
mhm.
did not know about it until it happened, di
Oo.
ba? Oo. And so, really, the 2 months preparation or redoing the strategies again, ma'am, actually focused
Mm,
more on that eh. As I was saying nga kanina, our priority really muna for the whole thing that happened was actually safety of the people.
mm,
O making them feel safe no when they come back to the office. So parang kasi lalong hindi tayo magtutuloy-tuloy kung we're not safe. If
True,
in
true.
our
yes,
respective
yes, you
if in our
correct.
respective organization, if we can't even make our people feel that they're safe working in the office, then I don't think we
Mm,
can do business at all.
tama.
Yeah,
Oh.
it of
And
course.
of course, ano po, with that in mind, kasi a lot of our participants as well are new HR practitioners. They are new in the
Right.
human resource field, and they have usually some of them are actually in from small to medium-sized businesses. I would like to ask you, Miss Nisa, what were your top questions when creating a business continuity plan to guide them through? What were the best questions you were asking to solve the problems that you were facing at hand?
Sorry, my questions to whom, ma'am?
Your questions when solving the problems that you were encountering throughout when creating the business continuity plan.
Okay. So, syempre wala namang madaling ma-introduce no if it's first time.
Mm.
Syempre it took us some time to actually make people understand and actually appreciate what is that for. Because hindi mo siya mabebenta, hindi nila gagawin, you'll just keep on telling them, okay, let's do this. Okay. People have to really feel and the see the importance of the business continuity plan, no. And so dati, or of course there's a you can research naman, no, how is it's being done. You have to categorize paano ba to, ganyan, identify what kind of mga how do you call that, events that you're going to prepare for,
Mm.
no. uh, yung severity nun, like, okay, so paano kapag gano to, is that going to be low, medium, high, extreme, acceptable ba yan, intolerable, etc. So when we were doing that, siguro in 2018, it took us siguro then mga 3 months not to create or come up with a
Mm.
simple pa lang, Ma'am Jolene, no, na business
Mhm.
continuity plan because life was not so complicated.
Yes.
Okay? There were no restrictions, but we were just what? Naiinis lang tayo sa traffic noon, sobrang traffic. ganyan, kung
I guess
umuulan, baha.
But I do have a question with regards to your preparation.
Yeah, preparation.
With the preparation, because of course it's easy actually to plan and to prepare, but the actual implementation is where it's at. So how did you get to execute it properly and efficiently, and how was the entire process throughout that?
Mm-mm. I have assigned someone to do the compliance, or there's
Mm-hmm.
an audit from time to time, no, that we contacted. Our people have, for example, mga files yan, are they being backed up? Okay, so somebody's checking on them if they're following, no, the policy on the business continuity plan. There was also a testing period. Okay, so people were also made to actually classify for themselves, ito ba to, hindi ba to, okay lang ba to na kunwari kung mawala yung files ko, etc. Okay, so there were
Mm-hmm.
also some, we did a, what do you call that, a uh oh, I ran out of words. So, so parang we did a practice, no, on how like kunwari, si safety officer 3 namin will say that, okay, so earthquake na. Okay, so may napapractice siya. We had to actually
Mm-hmm.
do a live, practice of mga example ng mga disasters, no? So people can be made, ma-practice nila kung paano sila maging ready if there is such an occurrence. And then
I
of
think
course yung periodical
Mm-hmm.
audit din. And then from time to time we would see people na hindi ka pa sumusunod, you're not still um very mindful of the things that you have to prepare for or save
Mm-hmm.
or
Correct.
back up, etc. Ganon. So
Yeah. Sobrang hirap po talaga makapag-prepare, especially pandemic, right? Sino bang makakapag-akala na
oo.
magkakaroon ng pandemic? Now, with that also po, what were the top three obstacles when you were creating your business continuity plan
Okay.
that you faced?
I saw a comment kanina, no. Ang hirap
Mm,
daw I don't know the exact words, but the message was like, ang hirap gumawa ng business continuity plan if there is no support
mm,
ng management. Totoo yun, mga ma'am. No, we, as HR, no, kung walang suporta ang ating management, syempre ang hirap ang gumawa, magplano, and mag-execute ng mga bagay-bagay that you're actually thinking for the organization naman, no? Three obstacles, I wouldn't say it's obstacles, Ma'am Jorina, no, because I think the most what we did lang actually to get everyone's participation is make them understand that it really is necessary that we put in place a business continuity plan. Again, it did not include the COVID. So we were focused on the different kinds of disasters nga, or
mm,
sickness or fire, etc. And so, yun lang sigurong schedule ng mga tao because they have specific deadlines as to when they're supposed to submit. Of course, they're given a template. We rolled out a framework, no, or how to do it. There has to be they had to do some focus group discussion, okay, from per department, etc. Yung schedule lang because pre-pandemic we had so many people. We were
mm,
servicing a lot of clients, no, and time, of course, and then communication. Um, it wasn't really, I wouldn't call it really an obstacle, but I think the continuous effort of making people understand its importance
yes.
and and including their respective work, kailangan ano siya huwag kang magsasawa doon. Kahit matigas ang ulo ng mga tao, kailangan mo silang kulitin
uh,
because it's really going, you know,
Miss
mas
Lisa,
mahirap. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, we perhaps know. I know Jarina asked about, okay, what obstacles did you have to, or at least three obstacles, or what were the questions perhaps that you asked yourselves, not in the company, how you're going to deal with that pandemic and having to redo your plans. But of course, if we're going to have, most of our participants are new, no, or
You.
if not
Okay.
new, um, there some are students. No?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I guess a business continuity plan is something that they would be welcoming to know more. So could you let us know what are the components or a guideline? Sabi nga ni Miss Jan, I think Miss Jasmine or Miss Janet was also asking kanina, no, Miss Jasmine Lim. And that is actually one of the things we'd like to ask you. What are the guidelines? What are the components or items that you have to have in a business continuity plan, such that, of course, if you have that, at least the basic perhaps, then you would know what to implement and you would know what to, you could at least be able to identify beforehand certain obstacles. If you do have the basic structure or framework for
Sure.
a business continuity.
Can I share that, you know, can you please excuse me for a moment?
Okay po.
Diba? This is quite
Mm,
exciting for a lot of people.
mhm.
You know,
Especially since the topic is so relevant.
yeah, it is relevant because of the pandemic. That all of a sudden, it's very, very real. No, parang sinasabi nga the struggle is real because a crisis is so magnified in front of us na hindi naman lahat kasi ng kumpanya nasusunugan, hindi naman lahat ng kumpanya na lilindol or mga ganyan, no. So but this time this crisis is faced by everyone, and so it became more real for everyone. So I guess
Mm.
that's what a business continuity plan is much more relevant at this point because everybody is now undergoing a crisis.
Yes, an economic crisis as well. Not only the pandemic, but an
Actually,
economic crisis.
No,
oo,
different
sorry
type
ha.
of
I had to
like,
actually get my battery. Nakita ko
Ah,
wala na pala.
okay, okay.
Oo, oo,
so
pasensya
I
na.
guess
Pag
Miss
live
Miss
talaga
is
maraming technical
Mm.
ano eh. Okay, so you were saying about framework or guide ba
yeah,
yan?
framework or
Well,
guideline.
I can show our initial, this was the original, ma'am, again, pre-pandemic, wala ngang COVID. So
Yes,
this was
yes.
what we did, no, earlier. Pero daw, okay, when we did the revision of the business continuity plan, ma'am, there's a separate manual for the COVID management. Okay, what I can show you now is the business continuity plan guide that we did pre-pandemic. Oh, I'm sure you can have or see an example also of this sa iba. Ayan, this is actually more simplified than the one that we're using now. Can I share na, ma'am?
Opo, opo.
Okay. Asa na ba kasi yung file ko na yan? Here. Ayan, ma'am, may nakikita na ba tayo? Can you see it, guys?
Yes po. Opo.
Oo. So, ayun, nagkaroon na nga ng revision ng 2019. Ito eh. Okay, so this is our business continuity plan outline, no? Pre-pandemic. Oh, lagi ako may disclaimer, ma'am, no? Kasi wala talaga si COVID dito.
Mm.
So, ito yung content ng business continuity plan. Again, this will be, I'm saying na sa amin to, well, of course, this is applicable sa amin, no? But, some industries or some companies may not be able to adapt this kasi syempre depende naman sa industry natin. Okay? But for the ones who are heavy in the documents or who are doing services, I think this can be useful to you guys. All right. So, of course, dapat may committee. Hindi kasi pwedeng sino lang.
Mm.
And for the
Yes.
committee, and knowledgeable dapat po ang committee.
Mm.
Sila
True.
dapat yung pinaka-advocates ninyo sa promote na kailangan may business continuity plan. These people should be the ones really very knowledgeable, the ones involved, no, especially informing the policy, no, kasi sila yung mag-guide and mag-gel doon sa group so that a certain department will be able to come up with a good continuity plan, business continuity plan. So that's the outline. So as you can see, may risk assessment yan, may mga drill or practices. Okay, so kailan yun iti-test, and then i-assess siya, sino ang responsible during the event. there were times when, again, pre-pandemic, people were in the building, no, nagtataka sila why we were going down, kasi pala nagpa-practice kami on our own paano pag may earthquake na, so dala-dala namin yung bag namin, mga laptop, etc. So we had those kinds of activities. And then syempre identified kung sino dapat ang responsible during the event. We always maintain dalawa per department para whatever happens to the one, may backup pa or merong sasalo. And then very important ang coordination, communication. Now, there are times or there are certain situations that has to be escalated already. And then, what do you do now sa recovery? Parang ganon. So, eto, mabilisan lang. So, identification, ayan ma'am. Again, wala po itong COVID-19. So hanggang mental health, kung may mga, those are the samples lang, no? The ones that we have identified earlier. Ayan, paano pag may loss of data and assets, etc. So there's that identification of the event or losses that can cause delays or stoppage of the operations in the workplace. Okay. And then, eto po yung mga committee namin. So, heavy lang talaga kami sa occupational safety and health. By the way, occupational safety and health is for everyone din, Ma'am Jolene, right?
Yes,
Oo.
yes.
Kahit na ang tindahan na 5 lang ang tao, sana alam po ng karamihan sa atin, especially HR, kailangan ng isang safety officer. Okay, that's the specification ng Department Order 198. So dapat as HR, mga advocates din tayo ng occupational safety and health. Okay, and then we have recovery team, data and assets team, and then of course yung department heads. Ayan, so ito yung, well, these were the yung dating positions no ng aming occupational safety and health teams. Iba na yan ngayon, marami dyan na promote na to safety officer 2. They have been required to actually acquire further training in the occupational safety and health. And then, yan, recovery, data and assets team. Okay. Ito na lang po. Okay, sa risk assessment, so dapat alam natin when we are doing the business continuity plan, identify natin kung gaano siya magiging kalala. Is that low, medium, high, extreme? Sa low, description would be acceptable ba yon o wala bang effect yon, walang delay in the operations, medium, yon. You can also have your own risk assessment definition, no? Again, depending on the industry that you are in. Okay. And then, eto, so in case of fire or disaster like a fire, ano yung mga magiging action plan ninyo? Kung low lang, hindi naman ganun ang effect. Paano kung medium na o high na or extreme na pala yung fire? Ayun. So mga ganyan pong mga ano. And then what do you do? Mga specifications, no, ng inyong business continuity plan. Ganun din sa earthquake. Ayan. So dapat naiintindihan po natin yan. Of course, what will happen or what will you do kapag may flood? Okay, sabi nga ng mga tao, how do we get flooded? We're at the 8th floor. Tama naman. Tama naman, di ba? Oo. Pero kasi, paano yung dadaanan natin? Okay, so when do we call it na parang, okay, nobody goes to work now because we're gonna drown, parang ganon. So, syempre may mga ganong eksena, no? So,
Yeah,
it required a lot of discussions. It required a lot of brainstorming to come up with one. Kaya I encourage you all to actually come up with one, guys. Because, sabi nga nila, tomorrow is not promised na nga daw. So, hindi paghandaan natin, diba? Okay, so paano kung may explosion? Paano pag may terrorism? Ayan, so kailangan na identify natin siya. And sickness, etc. Ayun mo. So that's an example. I can share probably or send the framework of this to everyone so that they can have a,
And yes po, that would be very
guideline.
helpful.
Ayun. Sige,
Isa,
ma'am.
we would like to acknowledge, I think one of our participants, I think you know him, Mr. Dave Flores. He actually shared a framework by which, at least in the BPO, this is the framework there. He says it. Number 1 is risk assessment. Number 2 is escalation path. Number 3, adaptability. 4 review, and 5 recovery. So that is quite an
Dave Flores.
yes.
Mhm.
Hi.
He's in our audience, so he's one of our participants for this afternoon. So I
Yes,
guess
Ma'am Julie,
yes po.
since we have many time pa po, why hindi natin i-invite ang ating mga participant to join or to ask something, lalo na sa mga kagaya nating HR practitioner na nagdaan talaga sa panahon ng pandemic. Ano-ano nga ba ang ginawa natin bilang mga HR para magtuloy-tuloy ang ating company? Tama ba, Ma'am Zurina?
I think
Yes po, mas maganda po ganun para direct po ang communication and you can, the speaker may be able to guide our participants.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
ano,
mga
sasagot
po,
ko yun.
baka po pwedeng open tayo ng
Ayan, okay. Unmute
audio
po
para
natin.
po
Teka.
makapag-question po tayo. Si Sir Dave, sabi ni Sir Dave, Miss
Ayan.
Lisa is my mentor when I'm still part of Grow Inc.
Wow.
O, diba?
Hi, Dave.
I think
Actually, si Dave po was one of our, ano din naman, A player. Oo. We were doing, at that time, ano nga ulit, Dave? Di ba, nagkabiso na edad tuloy. Anong tawag dyan? Headhunting. Oo. He's really a very good, ano.
so since Miss Neddy opened the floor, I guess for us to be able to um, give yung due spotlight, no, or due the floor to whoever would like to ask a question, siguro para ma-manage natin yung participation din ng ating mga audience.
Oo. Baka Ma'am Jolene, ano din, they would like to also share, no?
Yes.
Oo.
So, para po
Siyempre,
ganon,
mas may
siguro
magagaling dito eh. I sense that a lot of people here are also experienced in doing one, restructuring, diversification, continuity. Alam din nila yan. So, join us.
yeah, I guess para
Ayan.
sabay magsasalita, pwede po bang mag-raise ng hand muna para alam
Yes.
natin.
Opo, so for example, ganito lang po yung itsura ng pagre-raise ng hand. Katulad po ng ganito, gagawin ko po sa akin. Ganyan po, makikita nyo po dun sa top left corner po ng aking screen. Once po kayo po ay magre-raise ng hand. And then i-unmute po namin kayo so that you can be able to converse and speak your thoughts with this webinar. Yan. Okay po?
Ayan po, ready na po ang ating mga speaker at ang board of directors to answer all your questions, especially pagdating po sa kung ano nga ba ang ginawa nating mga ka-HR para magtuloy-tuloy ang ating business. Yan. Uy, mukhang nahihiya ang ating mga ka-HR. Ma'am Rose, do you have any question in mind na pwede nating pag-usapan para po ang ating mga ka-HR ay mainganyong magtanong sa ating speaker?
Thank you, Miss Neddy. Actually, we're listening kanina kay Miss Lisa. So, I understood malaki talagang factor ang business continuity plan. So, but i-ask ko lang kay ma'am.
Ay, ma'am.
Okay, ano po yung most challenging part na inuna nyo? Or I'm not sure kung talagang inuna, but ano yung most challenging na ginawa nyo to prepare for this business continuity plan?
Most challenging, Ma'am.
Opo, ma'am.
Oo. Well, kanina I mentioned about, making people understand or make them appreciate, what is that for? Why are we going to do it? At the time kasi parang kung maganda yung sitwasyon and you're not experiencing anything that, hampers your operations except for the usual ones, no? Wala ka talaga appreciation eh. But then again, yun na nga, I think naging helpful na maparealize sa kanila na there will always be an incident that is out of our control. And if that happens, are we sure that we are prepared, to face the situation or to be able to continue doing the operations? Okay. It required, again, a lot of, communicating it to the people, no? Kung paano siya maintindihan at ano ang importansya nun. Again,
Mhm.
hindi siya naging, okay, pag naglabas ka ba ng memo ngayon, if you make an announcement of such, is that going to be easily understood? Siyempre, hindi. Oo, there was series of communication per department. Ang dapat nga unahin, syempre, yung mga department heads. Kasi kung walang buy-in din sa department head, so paano yung paggawa nito or even up to the implementation. So, of course, we have to prioritize educating or making the department heads understand why is it why it is necessary to put one in place.
Mhm.
So, wala naman kaming struggle like in terms of, asking approval from the management. I siguro I am just in the position to um in a fortunate or blessed position to actually, you know, establish, create one or a policy na sa level ko okay na. No, my boss is really very supportive. Whatever it is that, will do good for the organization. Wala akong problema doon kay boss. And so, if, kasi kanina, I remember nga mentioning the participants, comment, mahirap nga naman daw gumawa noon kung walang support. Hindi kasi namin siya na-experience because kami na to mismo eh. And so I just, report to the board, to my boss that, okay, hey, we're doing this. So, kapag gano'n naman, wala kaming issue or anything. Okay. Of course, the HR people or the ones who were reporting under me, the human resources, kailangan talaga magpa-partner sa leader, si HR. So, ang role natin, mga HR, is not just to do the SSS, the PhilHealth Pag-ibig, the recruitment, the ganyan. Hindi kasi yun yung role lang natin. And I hope everybody realizes that the HR is a very good position in the office or in an organization para matulungan ang mga leaders to come up with a very strategic directions. Okay, so part of that direction is actually, again, coming up with a business continuity plan. Okay. Yung mga ibang activities na ng HR, those are usual and you guys are actually, I'd like to believe na you're experts of that eh. But you're supposed to be catalyst of change, improvement. So dapat focus kasi tayo doon. Otherwise, sabi nga, if we're just doing the same thing, then we are not actually leading. We're just managing it. And so I encourage each and every HR to be the leader of change. Tayo yon. Tayo ang pwedeng makagawa nun. Tayo ang pwedeng mag-influence sa mga tao sa organization natin. So there has to be a very good reputation of HR, of course. And yung consistency sa ginagawa natin, that we are actually a fan of improvement, a fan of development, anything that will make the organization better, that's the HR work. And it requires a lot of dedication, commitment, and passion to the job to do it. No? And then makikita naman yun eh, susuportahan naman ng tao if tayo mismo naipaliwanag or na-communicate natin sa kanila ng maayos.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Lisa. I'm sure may mga nagdagdag na mga communication tools din kung nung nag-change tayo in terms of that. No po, tama po ba, Miss Lisa?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. And of course po, I think understood din naman po because of the changes and the adaptability ng mga tao. You mentioned about revisiting at saka yung review. Was there a point, since sabi nyo nga po ang most medyo good thing na lang po supportive yung management, and ang naging medyo a little bit of struggle lang is yung communication, which alam ko naman po na dinagdag na yung other communications tools. During the review and the revisit, of course, alam naman po natin for any sudden changes, there will also be change of the behavior of the employees,
Correct, ma'am.
change of the behavior from yung culture natin. Meron din po bang na gano'n? May na-encounter din po kayong gano'n? And what was the, ano po yung mga if you could give us suggestions on what to do kapag may mga ganun po na experiences.
Okay, thank you. Oh, well, that's normal, no, Ma'am Rosalie, no, na may mga parang dati very cooperative, okay naman siya. Bakit nung inintroduce to or bakit nung iniba, parang hesitant na or ayaw na mag-cooperate or don't care at all. Oo.
Mm-mm.
Again, as I was saying, yung ano namin ngayon, we're more strict or we are actually continuously improving yung sa safety and health of
Mm.
the that is in place in the organization. Especially etong COVID-19. So sabi ko nga, isang separate buong libro ang meron kami ngayon yan. Dedicated
Mm.
lang, no? And it gets, it gets we review that, and from time to time naiiba. Sometimes the application of of the action that has to be done is different, samantalang pareho lang naman sila ng case. Bakit nga ba naman kasi ganon? Oo. So, and mahirap din minsan ipaliwanag, no? But how do you call this? May mga different reaction, definite yan, ma'am. That's a very normal reaction of people, no? What do we do with that? We try to actually make the person understand. We reach out to the one who is not, who's not necessarily deviating, but actually asking why. So it is really very important that you keep, your key people with you. Like the case of etong COVID-19 management namin, we have a solid I have a very good, solid team in of safety officers, no. They have separate there's a team that's separately doing the oh, now I forgot the the term that they use, no. Kasi parang dati isang magkakasama sila. Now, what if may mga symptoms na ganito? So, they're actually splitted into two groups focusing on the support to the person if in case one gets infected, or even to our deployed employee, and the other one is like monitoring and coordinating with the government or the local government units. Okay, so it's important that you have a good people with you, or people who are actually
Mm.
with you, no? Who are able to fully understand and live by the policies. Kasi kung hindi, syempre hindi ko naman kaya yon.
Mm.
Maybe I'm just,
Ah.
blessed to be working with people who have the same mindset. Oo.
Mm.
So yung influence lang din kasi, and their efforts, I actually commend their efforts, their dedication and consistency
Mm.
in the implementation of this program. By the way, we also had our crisis, no?
Opo.
Itong year na to, despite our strict implementation na nung aming safety and health, no? So hindi namin inasahan na magkakaroon kami dito sa office ng infection, and there were a lot of
Mm.
us who got infected, and
Mm.
so parang we had to go home and quarantine ourselves, coordinate with different LGU. So we experienced those. It was a good thing that we were able to do crisis management during at this time, because people were made ready to do what in case when. Okay, so it's
Mm.
always necessary to actually prepare for something you are not seeing happening. So you have to
Yes.
anticipate. You have to plan in advance.
Mm.
Correct. Sabi nga ng
Oo.
boss ko, dapat laging may backup plan.
Ayun.
Mm.
May plan B ka, ma'am. Dapat
Ah.
yung plan B mo, may plan A siya, point 1, may point 2, may ganon. Oo.
Mm.
Correct. Agree,
Oo.
Ma'am Lisa.
It's it requires consistent communication. Again, people have to be flexible and, very adaptive to or mag-adjust. Kasi nga,
Mm.
paano kung yung kahapon na nangyari, hindi na applicable yung action ngayon because,
Opo.
things were made a
Now,
little
with that po, Miss Nisa, since you were mentioning na people about the people, yes, human resources is all about the people. Now, how do we manage to create a culture of risk management? Because, of course, this is about risk management altogether, about business continuity. So, how do we get to have the culture of risk management? Like, usually, kasi, since it's the pandemic, a lot of people would feel that they are not comfortable saying that they are actually experiencing symptoms. So they would go to your office, and they would risk other people around them. So how do you create a culture of risk management?
risk sa health, no? Because of the
Mm.
COVID. Kasi
Mhm.
the risk management is a very broad
Mhm.
topic, no? But if, okay, so on the COVID, okay. Um, I would say na, syempre we had that kind of experience then, no? Especially in 2020. Parang when we were, excuse me, planning to go back to the office, many of us would not want to go back. Marami. I'm not saying that we have a, perfect, occupational safety and health program. People are very aware. No, 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 we're not. In fact, if there is a big room here in the office, that's a room for improvement pa rin on the occupational safety and health. We're not at the perfect level na of this one, no? But sabi ko nga, we are continuously improving, revisiting, assessing if
Mm.
things are okay pa ba or kailangan na bang baguhin, etc. Risk, okay, so we had that cabin fever that they call, 'di ba? Yung mga ayaw na lumabas,
Mm.
etc. Oo. Kasama kasi dito, ma'am, part of the itong activity na to or the BCP of the on health now, especially for COVID, was actually yung sa mental health.
Mm.
Kasi actually, kung ayaw naman talaga ng tao and the perspective is different, then wala ka namang magagawa. Meron din tayong batas na nagsasabi that we can't force our people to go out, work, go to the office. Diba? We're not allowed to do that. They can't get terminated because they don't want to go to office. That was why, the government was actually encouraging to offer or, an option to do work from home. Okay. So how did we do that? I think it helped that as early as April yata yon or May of 2020, even before we go back to the office, we were starting to monitor each employee. Okay, we
Mhm.
have a syempre gamit na gamit no yung messenger, buti na lang may ganyan
Tama.
yung yung pagbuo ng mga group chats, etc. So, meron silang safety officer per group, say a group of 3 or group of 4 monitoring on them.
Mm.
Until now, guys, we are sending our temperature in the morning, in the afternoon. We are
Mm.
telling our group chats na do we have symptoms. By the way, if I may add, ito recent addition no to our program on the safety and health. We adapted the NCR plus bubble. Okay, so hindi ganong perspektibo, no? What do I mean by that? Ibig sabihin, kung sino yung madalas mong kasama, and you can take off your mask with, like, kunwari kakain or ganyan, dapat sila lang. You can't go with other people in the other department. So that when, in the event when, for example, one of your groups, kung tatlo kayo, um, or apat kayo, and somebody got, or experiencing a symptom, then everybody goes home. The four of you will not come to the office anymore. And you will be under strict surveillance, under strict monitoring, para masiguro na you're not gonna infect other people. So we maintain minimal close contact with each and one another. Okay.
Mm.
Ang office po namin ngayon dati, kung cute-cute lang yung aming mga, how do you call that? Yung mga barriers namin ngayon from floor to from ceiling to down to the floor na. So, and we installed like a lot of exhaust fans. Some windows are even open. So, ano siya,
Mm.
ma'am, yung how do we convince the people go? Ayun nga, yung making people safe, feel
Mm.
safe in
Oh, have
coming
the
and
culture of health and
correct.
safety.
And
Oo.
then continuously we would roll out, especially when we were not pre-pandemic pa, no? We were studying. We would have, a weekly how do you call that? Mga um mabilisan and quick health nasa office kami, naka-Zoom.
Ay naku, mukhang
Nag-freeze ng
mukhang
konti.
nagkakaroon po tayo ng technical problems po sa end ni Miss Nisa. Ay, ayan, okay na po.
Hello.
Ayan,
Sorry. Hindi
na-cut
ko na
off
alam kung
ka
sino
po.
ka.
Na-cut off
Okay.
ka po.
Sorry, Ma'am Jolene was like, You were saying?
Nag-freeze ka for a moment, ma'am.
Apo,
Okay,
pero
sige.
antay lang. Last
Oo.
5 seconds.
Last 5 seconds. Asan na ba ako nun? Okay.
Yung sa
Yeah, okay. So we are until now monitoring each other. We
mm,
are not supposed to be mixing with other people kahit na andyan lang siya sa kabilang kwarto, ganyan. Our
mm,
temperatures are even monitored daily. Okay, we have this we call it COVID-19, the CDA, daily
mm,
assessment. We do that. We submit that weekly. There's monthly report. The safety officers meet, every week, even 2 to 3 times a week to discuss what if there's something that happened
mm,
wrong, parang dinidiscuss nila and assess and check where we can improve. So ano rin siya, it requires a lot of making people then oriented about totoo. Baka naman kasi chismis lang yung alam natin or naririnig natin. So I think because we are very active on this, no, I think we have been able to, of course, not 100%, we're not perfect, no, to make lang people understand ano ba yung totoong mga pang-COVID lang naman. Kasi iba naman, hindi naman siya factual eh. So we make
mm.
people understand. Okay.
Yeah,
There
I
is a
think
Yeah, that's important.
new
yes.
policy or new or revision on the existing policy that we do, then we immediately communicate it to them. Again,
Mm.
mahirap siyang i-manage as a whole. So, kailangan siya,
Very communicated po talaga lahat ng mga factors and
communicated, and
everything.
there is
Mm,
someone really monitoring,
mm,
ensuring that concerns are being addressed, elevated,
mm,
if not,
mm.
within their, um, control or authority. Ayun. So, again, communication pa rin naman.
Opo, tama po.
Oo. Tsaka wag titigil ng pag-roll out ng something, ito na pala
Mm,
yung bago, etc. Ganyan. So,
mm,
hindi kasi pwedeng we will just rely on the social media especially. Okay,
mm.
so hindi naman lahat din no?
Tama, hindi tama.
Tama.
Fake news yung iba
Oo.
diyan.
Oo, sa radyo or sa TV. Okay. It's a good thing lang that I think we're surrounded or we have affiliation with some people who help us also, improve on the side of occupational safety and health.
Mm,
Kailangan kasi talaga hindi siya sinisimulan tapos andyan lang sinusunod.
mm.
It has to be lived by,
Continuously
practice
implemented.
continuously, consistent, oo,
Yes.
continuously, and then dapat nare-revisit siya because again yung kahapon na pwede ngayon hindi na eh.
Mm.
So I guess
Okay.
Miss Nisa, no, we have several questions now, and I guess some of them are sort of like overlapping. And just like what you mentioned kanina, ang pinaka-importante is communication, consistency, and all that. So one of the questions is about a playbook. So do you already have a playbook? Perhaps it's really documented such that it's easier to implement because there's a basis for it and it's documented. So have you come up with a playbook for that? And in connection to that, there's another question that asks, what are the salient points then? What are the salient points that you can give so such that the process of having a business continuity plan and the effectiveness, now the effectiveness of the strategy stated in your business continuity plan, how can you assure, how can you ensure the effectiveness of these strategies, if may they be revised, may they be new, no, new strategies. And so what are the salient points in the process, and what is the effectivity measures perhaps? So how will you know that how can you measure the effectiveness of
Effectiveness.
these?
Medyo mabigat na yung tanong na yun Hindi,
Yeah,
joke.
it is
Hindi, okay, ganito yan. Well, at least for
really
us,
monitoring.
no?
Yeah,
Correct.
so perhaps it's that.
Correct. Okay. You were asking about the playbook or manual. We have a manual for that. Okay. And policy is actually rolled out. So that's people know about it. Okay. Okay. The effectivity or the effectiveness
Yes.
nung mga policy na yon.
Because in
You can always come up with a policy. Nandyan lang yan. Pwedeng sundin, pwedeng hindi, right? Okay. We have actually um a, a group or a person actually doing we call it compliance department.
yes,
Okay, or compliance team, no? So, meron kasi talaga din dapat. Well, I'm not saying that, okay, so you have to have one in your organization. Again, it depends, no? Hindi lang din naman kasi dedicated doon ang trabaho niya. But it really helps that there is someone who's dedicated in doing the audit, checking on people from time to time. Okay. And because we have a committee nga uh, doing these things or helping me actually implement things. So it's a lot easier to do. So you really have to have with you sets of people who are actually um, who will be how do you call that? Who will help you ensure that there is consistency in the compliance. Kasi pwede naman ngang may policy, pero wala namang compliance. So what is that?
yes.
That's nothing. It's just a written material,
Okay.
published or wala, andyan lang siya. It's like a book that's not being read. Okay. So, meron talagang magche-check, ma'am. Meron talagang, somebody is looking or monitoring the compliance. Okay. On the side of the safety lang, hindi kasi siya pwedeng hindi kayo lahat magko-cooperate. Okay, hindi pwedeng merong dalawa na hindi sumusunod o hindi ginagawa yung tama because sabi nga if one is not safe then everybody is not. Diba? If one is not practicing what is supposed to be doing, you are risking everybody. And that extends to our respective families. That was why when we came back in the office, we did not stop, having a rollout, having an orientation, what to do, paano na, how do we determine yung mga symptoms, etc., etc. Ayun. On the business continuity, Ma'am Jolene, that you were mentioning, because I was like talking about the safety and health, no, or on the COVID management. Oo. Ah, yung department heads are very critical to actually doing it themselves, a role model in the implementation of the business continuity plan. Okay. So, syempre kapag si leader, hindi niya pinapractice and is not telling the people to actually comply, then hindi siya effective. Okay, so department heads are responsible for taking care of their people's compliance. Okay. Number two, kailangan may mga drill din dito. So, kailangan, from time to time, i-surprise nyo sila o make a surprise drill that, okay, so something is happening. So, what do we do? Okay. So, kahit nasa CR ka pa, dapat alam mo na kapag people will have to evacuate. So, do you know what to bring? Okay. From time to time, we have our kanya-kanyang safety kit. All
Yeah.
right. It's a bag with the alcohol, with even our sanitary napkin, even with the water, may food. Well, na-check nga ako one time na expired na pala yung nandun. Even a bottle of water. So, dapat yon bit-bit mo siya. Kasi what if something happens, tapos maipit ka at the 7th floor, pagbaba mo. So, at least, yung survival kit, sorry, that's survival kit pala ang tawag doon. Okay,
Yeah.
so, kahit yon dala mo. O cellphone, kahit magsi-CR ka, dali mo yung telepono mo kasi baka mamaya abutan ka sa CR so that we can call you if something happens. So, yung ganun, ma'am, kailangan may exercise. Kailangan may nag-audit. Kailangan i-revisit. Applicable pa ba siya? O baka nakalimutan na siya? Kasi nga, wala ko, focus lang tayo sa COVID. Hindi ganun. What if later on mag-earthquake? So are you sure that you have your files with you? Are your working data updated? Okay, is it saved in the clouds? Or may backup ka ba? Etc. So those are the things. Hindi naman, I'm not saying that, we're expert on this, ready. Hindi rin naman. But, some of it are actually very practical to do. It just, requires, number one, full understanding. What's that for? Why are we doing it? Number two, dapat may team alignment or responsible for the team, making sure that it's being complied with. Of course, I cannot check on them in each of them from time to time. So there is a group that actually conduct the audit. All right. So, those kinds of things. Wala kaming sikretong ginagawa bakit, we're success. Hindi rin naman po. Hindi rin naman po. That is why, from time to time, we revisit it because uh, I don't think we have perfected it. I don't think we will ever perfect it. So, it requires a consolidated collective efforts of everyone,
Yeah, and
making
since
sure
it is
that
yes, ma'am. No, thank you for that. No, so to ensure the effectiveness, you mentioned na, may buy-in dapat yung mga managers and heads of department so they could be the extension of the policy or the ones that could actually make sure that it's being implemented well. Another is your suggestion of having drills, no, or parang random check, no? But then
periodical, yes, ma'am.
yeah, without them really knowing that they're going to be tested or something's really going to happen. So have those kinds of drills.
Correct.
Another is if there is a need, because it was specifically in terms of safety, if you could have that as a policy in your company that you'll have safety kits, you have go bags, you have whatever it is that you have to have with you in the case of any emergency risks or anything that might happen.
Correct,
Another
Ma'am
that you
Jolene.
mentioned, and so, but for you to be able to do that, and we say thank you to Mr. Dave Flores again, and he said
I
that
was actually about to ma'am, commend
yes,
Dave eh. He added some points here. O,
yeah,
'di ba? Ang
yeah,
tatalino talaga nitong mga dati kong office mates eh. Very good talaga sila. Oo,
yeah,
hi Dave. By the way, Ma'am Julie, I'd like to put emphasis lang no that each and every human resource practitioner ay dapat kabisado. Alam po ang Department Order 198.
there you go.
Oo.
Yeah,
Kailangan alam po natin
department
yon.
code.
Kailangan susundin po natin yon. Kasi anytime, pwede tayong puntahan. Not just that, not just the audit of the DOLE, no, but it's actually for your people. It's for
Yeah,
the people that you have been, blessed with to work with, no? So, kasi tayo yung responsible sa kanilang safety. And we should be the partner of the leader of the organization to actually implement, no, the implementing rules and regulations noon. Kasi kung hindi natin alam yon, hindi tayo magkakaintindihan dito in the first place. Okay, the business continuity plan is a separate thing, no, it's a separate huge thing, no, but it is also equally important as to the compliance on the Department Order 198.
great. Perhaps before we end this afternoon, we'll just have one last question, no? Kasi this one is it is about yung specifically yung business continuity plan na nangyari sa inyo. You had the payroll outsourcing. So one of our regulars, no, si Dr. Elton, he asked, I think it was him who asked na if you had a payroll outsourcing as a business continuity plan, one of the, for you to be able to continue business, um, for a lack of better term, I know it's not necessarily, but para siyang pivot, no? So nagkaroon kayo ng payroll outsourcing. He is asking, did you have to partner with a technology, with a tech company? Did you have to partner with anyone? Or may system na kayo talaga so that such that you were able to do that in your continuity plan?
Ma'am Jolene, we before we started offering the payroll, we already have a payroll system. Okay,
Yes.
but in late 2019, we were actually transitioning to a system, no, na mas malaki, mas capable, mas makaka-capture na, no, ng different payroll parameters that we have, no, because we have different clients. Iba-iba
Yes.
yan, may monthly, may daily, may etc., no. So while hindi pa siya kumbaga completely or lahat yon na i-maximize namin, but yes, we have a system.
Okay, so you have a system na. Okay,
We
thank
have
you
a
for
system.
sharing that.
The reason why it was part of the business, it's actually it's really part of our skills and expertise din naman anyway. It's not really a business diversification that's out of, what we know and what we have been doing. It's just that it is a separate thing, a separate service that we can offer, which we did not do pre-pandemic. So now we're offering that, including the occupational safety and health program, which by the way has different phases then, because see department order, I see the Dole pala, by the way, I don't know if everyone is aware, no, that they're actually offering free training naman on the occupational safety and health. But actually to come up with a very good program or of OSH in your respective organizations, hindi, it doesn't just require it doesn't, you don't just need a training on that. Ayun. So now it's part of our of the services that we offer.
Yes, this afternoon, Ma'am Jolene, can while we still have Ma'am Nisa, I would like to Ma'am Jolene. Yan. Yes, Ma'am Jolene.
We just say thank you. No, thank you for Miss Nisa. Thank you for indulging us with your time. No, with all these questions, and I hope that our participants have gained a lot of knowledge from you. And so, after which, some of our participants though would like to receive an e-certificate, although all our webinars are free. But for the ones who would like to receive an e-certificate, please, if you have if you have sent your 50 pesos either through Union Bank or through GCash, please expect your e-certificate after 7 working days or before Saturday, on or before Saturday. So kung yung mga e-certificates nyo po na umattend po today, sa susunod pong Sabado, that's when you could expect your e-certificate. Now, for the ones na para hindi po bumabalik para i-correct yung spelling ng pangalan, please make sure that when you fill up, na nasa chat po natin yan, nasa chat po na andun po yung link. So you could give us the accurate information such as your name, your proof of payment, no? Yun pong yung mga kailangan po na information na accurate po, doon nyo po ilagay. You go to the chat so that you could go to
Yeah.
okay, so please
Yes po,
Yes.
sorry. I just would want to correct po the earlier one. So 7 working days po, meaning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the latest we would be giving the e-certificates to allow for more corrections and to really sift through the attendance logs is Tuesday for the next week. Okay?
Okay, so not necessarily this Saturday, but
Yes.
stay thereafter.
Mm.
So kasi po ang 7 days, hindi po kasama ang Saturday, Sunday doon. So,
Apa.
okay, so of course, this webinars, thank you again, Miss Nisa. And as much as we are so grateful to our speaker, we would also like to say thank you to our sponsors, for the ones who have made this webinars possible. So we say thank you to St. Peter's Life Plan. If you do need that, of course, it's not just a need, it's a way for you to show your love and affection and care for the family that you're going to leave. So please contact Miss Nedi Estrella. It's flashed there on the screen. We also would like to say thank you to Caparal Appliances and Furniture. So if you'd like to, if you're around the area of Cavite or kahit hindi, no, if you would like to have your customized furniture, then you could check out Caparal Appliances and Furniture. So we would also like, of course, to say thank you to Grupo Vino if you'd like to get your medical supplies. So you have your antiseptics, your disinfectants, please get in touch with Grupo Vino Incorporated. We'd like to say thank you also to Bricks Power Incorporated Consultancy Management Services. So if you'd like to have your company audit, no, and if you'd like to check how to grow or how you would like to progress and grow your business, you can get in touch with Bricks Power Incorporated Consultancy and Marketing Services. And as the name is stated, Sabon Factory, thank you very much. If you'd like any cleaning chemicals for your household and industrial needs, please get in touch with Sabon Factory. And we'd like to also say thank you to Jirina's Home Depot for your appliances and furniture needs. So that's a store. There's that in Facebook. We'd like to say thank you also for Confetti Corner if you'd have any fashion needs. No? And so if you're a kind of fashionista, you could get in touch with them. And if you would like to have some degree of clarity, if you would like to move into something new or do something different, and you'd like some have a push so you could get your results, you can get in touch with me through soulsidekick.coach@gmail.com or anajolinpamatmat@gmail.com. So that's please get in touch with me. It's on FB. So we are very grateful for all our sponsors for this Saturday's webinar and for the webinars thereafter every Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So for all of you who have joined us this afternoon, we're very, very grateful for your presence. You know how weekends are. Alam natin that you'd rather do something else on the weekend perhaps, but you preferred to gain learning for today. So thank you very much for gaining that knowledge through our Saturday webinars. And of course, to show our appreciation to our speaker, Ms. Nisa Trinidad, we'd like to present this certificate of appreciation to Ms. Nisa Trinidad for sharing her invaluable knowledge and expertise as our resource speaker for the 27th HRE Knowledge entitled Restructuring and Diversification for Business Continuity. So Ms. Nisa, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
and you're very, very welcome.
And so with that, we would like to say thank you. God bless. Good afternoon to all of you.
Ma'am, wait.
Ma'am, wait. We still have the picture taking session before we end. And I would just like to extend again my deepest gratitude to our speaker, Miss Nisa, on behalf of the entire board of directors of HR Calabarzon. Thank you so much for giving the time and giving the effort for today's session just to extend to our HR practitioners. It's very helpful to our community. Thank you very much po talaga.
Okay. Yeah. You are very welcome, guys. I am actually honored to be part of, the learning session today. Salamat po. Salamat sa mga nakinig, and I hope meron nga naman din ako talagang na-share din sa inyo.
Marami po.
Salamat po.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am Nisa, Ma'am Jolene, Ma'am Rose, Ma'am Jolina. Kasama ng ating mga ka-HR nawa po sana'y buksan nyo ang inyong mga video, ma'am. At oras
Yan
na
na.
sa ating mandatory picture taking.
Okay. Smile. Walang face mask, ha?
Ma'am, paano ba
Unless nasa office.
Oo, may kasama.
Smile po.
Smile.
And if you really believe in something,
Yan.
Yan, okay.
Another slide.
Isa pang slide.
that was fun. If you guys are ever here, you should try it. If you guys ever see a well-wishing tree like this,
Smile po.
for you to do with your friends, your family.
Yan.
May mga nakasmile na naka-face mask. Nakikita
Napansin
ko.
rin, ma'am. Napapansin ko rin yan. Makikita kasi natin yung ngiti ng ating mga mata. Muli po, Ma'am Nisa, maraming salamat po. In behalf of
Thank
the
you.
whole board of directors of HR Calabarzon, Ma'am Janet, Sir Arvin, and Sir Darwin, maraming salamat po sa pag-share ng inyong knowledge and experience, lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemic. Sa aming mga ka-HR na walang sawang sumusubaybay at sumasama sa amin every afternoon, asahan po namin kayo next week because mas maganda, mas marami tayong speaker. Tama ba, Ma'am Jorina, Ma'am Rose?
Opo, marami po
Yes,
tayo.
agree.
Next week. At sigurado po nating really marami po tayong tututunan next afternoon. Saturday afternoon. Ngayong hapon po, bago po matapos ang lahat, inaanyayahan po namin kayong manood kasama ang ating one of the board of directors sa HR Kwentuhan this 5 o'clock. Sana po ay makasama rin namin kayo ngayong hapon. Muli po, maraming salamat. Magandang hapon po.
Sa inyo lahat.
See you po mamayang 5 p.m. at bukas sa Philippine HR Cafe.
Okay, see you po. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye po. Thank you po.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Sir Reggie. Bye-bye, Dr. Elton. Bye-bye, Sir Emmanuel.
Bye-bye. Next session po ulit.
Thank you.
Sa mga
Thank you.
Dr. Elton. Bye-bye po.